Welcome to Hayden Cooks a Lot. I'm going to be making some roasted asparagus in my oven as a side dish to go with dinner. So before we get started, make sure that you are ready for cooking. That means your sleeves are rolled up, items are off your hands, hair is pulled back, and your hands are washed well. I have preheated my oven to 400 degrees, and now I'm ready to work on my asparagus. So asparagus is a spring vegetable. It's really cheap right now. It comes in 3 different colors. You can get white asparagus, purple asparagus, and green asparagus. And the most common one is green. So if you see different colors in some of the stores, that's why. I tend to like the ones that are about this size right here. They're not super skinny, but they're also not very, like really, really fat. I don't like the really, really fat ones. Sometimes they're a little bit more woody than these, meaning they're more fibrous. So I have already washed the asparagus and I have dried it. It's on one of my flour sack towels. And again, I buy these towels at Walmart. They're at the bottom shelf where they sell the kitchen towels at, and they come in a pack of like 2 or 3 or a pack of 8 or 10. And they're really, really cheap, and they're big and they're thin, and they're great for cleaning house, drying dishes, and drying off your fruits and vegetables. So the bottoms of the asparagus, when they cut them out of the field that they're growing in, the bottoms of them are kind of fibrous and chewy. So naturally the asparagus will just kind of, if you bend it and go like this, it'll snap where the harder part is before it starts with the softer part. So it leaves the ends kind of ugly. You can see that there, it's not a perfect looking little cut, but I don't care. If you want to go back and cut the ends off with your little knife, that's fine. If I'm in a big hurry, then I won't snap the asparagus. I'll just cut off a good amount of chunk off of the bottom of it with my knife after it's cleaned. And then I will start cooking it. So I have here parchment paper on a baking sheet, and my baking sheet has all 4 sides on it. Do not do this on a cookie sheet, because the oil we're going to use would run off of the sides and into the bottom of your oven. Oh, so this one's like, didn't want to snap. All right. And asparagus is really, really good for you. So there are lots of nutrients in this. Asparagus has vitamin A in it, and we remember vitamin A is good for our eyes. It has vitamin C in it, and vitamin C helps us to prevent sickness. It has folate in it, which is important for especially pregnant women to get enough folate in their diet, because it helps with DNA formation with that baby. And it also helps with cell growth, and then also vitamin K, and vitamin K helps our blood to clot. So anyway, lots of good things. There's other nutrients in it too, but those are the higher ones that it contains. And this also has a lot of fiber in it, and fiber helps you to go, number 2, go to the bathroom, number 2. So the ends of these asparagus right here are going to go in my compost pile, and then that will add nutrition later after it breaks down to go into my garden soil. So I'm going to spread out the asparagus here on the parchment paper. You don't have to use parchment paper. I'm just using this for easier cleanup later. And I think the parchment paper kind of helps things to brown a little bit more sometimes, and I just like to do that. I would not use waxed paper on this, because even though sometimes they say, oh, the wax doesn't melt, I don't know. I still think it gets a little bit of wax in your food. So this is what parchment paper looks like. I get this at Costco. It comes in a 2-pack, and that's the cheapest place to get it. I'm going to be using some avocado oil. This does not taste like avocados. It's a plain flavored oil. You can use olive oil, vegetable oil, whatever you want. Avocado oil is a monounsaturated fat, so this is good for you. This is one of the healthy fats to use. So I drizzled a thin little layer going across the asparagus, and now I'm going to roll them back and forth. And does anybody remember what this tool here is called? Yes, it is a turner. Okay, so I can use this to turn stuff or grab things like this to lift stuff off. But anyway, I'm just going to use this to help me roll the asparagus around in the little bit of oil here, which will help it to do some browning in the oven. Now, I could put my hands in here and use my hands to roll it around, but I just don't want to do that. I'm just going to use the turner to work this asparagus and get it coated in that little bit of oil. All right, and now I'm going to spread them all back out. Okay, turn around. There you go. All right, so I'm going to spread these out. Okay, here we go. And now I'm going to get some salt. So I'm going to use pink Himalayan salt. You can use regular table salt. You can use kosher salt, whatever you want. I'm going to sprinkle this across. Okay, and that's it. So this is ready to go into the oven. So I'm going to get my oven mitts on. And I'm going to open my oven door all the way down so it doesn't close on me. I'm going to put this in my 400-degree oven. It's already been preheated. Close the door, and then I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes. Oops, hello. Okay, and then I'm going to check. It's probably will be done. I might need to add on another minute or so. And then we'll take a peek at it and see if we need to add on time or not. So we're going to jump into your science class right now. So asparagus has a compound in it that's called asparagusic acid. And this is the only vegetable that has it. So it is actually like a sulfur compound. So think about skunks. When a skunk sprays, it has a sulfurous type smell. Garlic has sulfur in it. So that's why some of those are kind of strong smelling to us. So asparagus, when you go to eat it, later, like a half an hour or so, if you go to the bathroom, number one, when you go to the bathroom and you pee, you let out that type of acid that had been processed in your body, and when it comes out, it has a sulfurous type odor. So your urine is going to smell. Now the issue is, not everybody can smell it. You have to have the particular olfactory gene that you can actually smell that sulfur smell from the asparagus. So sometimes in class, I'll take a poll of my students and say, hey, if you've ever had asparagus, you know, how many of you have noticed that odor? And I usually have about 2 to 3 of my students in every class of 24 that have that gene. So everyone has the odor that comes out, but again, only certain people can smell it. So sometimes I'll be at like a restaurant somewhere that serves asparagus, and I will walk into the bathroom and I'll go in a stall right behind someone else, and I'm like, oh, woo, when I walk in, because it's like, it's strong. So if you have that gene, you know you do when you eat asparagus and then smell that urine later. So there's a little fact for you for science reasons. So I'm going to pause the video, and then we are going to check the asparagus in 15 minutes to see what it looks like and if it's done. All right, so the timer just went off. It's been 15 minutes at 400 degrees. So I'm going to check to see if they're done. First thing I'm going to do is look through the window. Yeah, they look like they're done. So now I'm going to open the door and check. Keep my face out of the way. Yep, they look finished to me. So I'm going to put my oven mitts on, and I'm going to pull this out, close the door, and get it onto my hot pads. All right, so I can smell them. The tips of the asparagus start to turn a little bit browned and crispy. You can see some of this, see that? Some of this brown color here on the parchment paper. So they're soft and tender. They'll still have a little bit of a bite to them, okay? There you go, that looks good. All right, so, and they got a little bit of a light toasty color on the tips of the asparagus there. So that looks really, really good. So let's see here. Do I want to add any seasonings? I just have salt on it. No, I think I'm just going to keep it with just plain salt. You could use pepper. You could use black pepper on it. You could do a little bit of onion powder. Lemon juice would be good squirted on this too. That's up to you, whatever sounds good to you. So I'm just gonna use this, or keep it plain with just the salt. I'm gonna cut off one of the little tips here. Okay, and then I'm gonna give this a taste. Mmm, delicious. So, just the right amount of salt too. So it's tender. I don't have any woody bits from it, from the strong fibers, because remember we snapped off the bottoms of it. So this came out really, really good. So try some asparagus for dinner. It's in season right now in the spring.